to an article called Trash in America by the Frontier Group with information from the annual Environmental Protection Agency, the United States produces 30% of the world's garbage, but makes up only 4% of the world's population. That's 4% of the people, 30% of the trash. And a study at Columbia University estimates that each and every one of us throw out 2,500 pounds of trash per year. That's just Americans. That's 7 pounds a day. That's seriously trashy. And I'm not asking you to completely stop using plastic or have a zero landfill home or completely change what you do. Sorry. There's little that I can do to sway you in 6 to 8 minutes. I am here to ask you to take just one more step from whatever you do. In order to do so, today I'm going to talk about what kind of trash we produce, why it matters, and how we can each make a small difference. A little bit goes a long way. Most of our trash comes from packaging. Packaging is of little use to most consumers. We can't reuse it, we can't even recycle most of it, we can't repurpose it because it's weird shaped or you've ripped half of it off. Non-durable goods, like clothing and newspapers, 20% we just throw away in buying all of our fashion trends and our trendy things we could be getting from Goodwill or other places. 13% from yard trimmings. You can just compost that in your backyard. Almost 15% from food and organic materials, and 20.4% from durable goods like furniture and appliances. Now what do we do about it? Reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduce. If 28% of our garbage is yard waste and food scraps, and we composted that, we would reduce our trash volume by 25%. That includes the greenhouse gases that are toxic to us and our ozone, which is an entirely different speech altogether, but trust science, we need the ozone. By composting, and we take the effort and space to compost, it equals less trash to take out. We have constant fertilizer and soil material, and fertilizer not just for our own use, but also for commercial use as well. We've composted for 10 years, we do food and everything. My little old lady neighbor, Mary, used to just take her sticks and put them in a pile in the backyard. And when she passed, now the person who lives there does the same thing because there was just a little spot. So that's a lot of yard waste not to put into the trash, because the food waste and the yard waste is what produces most of those gases. Literalist.com says that in Bloomington there are composting pickup services from Green Camino and Crosstown Compost, and there's also many indoor things that you can do. Despite your thinking, and most people's thinking, it doesn't attract bugs or vermin when done properly. And maybe doing your food is just a little too much, a little too overwhelming. Just try doing your yard waste. A little bit goes a long way. You can also reduce by using less. Don't use plastic produce bags. They're so thin, they just break anyway and you just throw them away. They don't keep your food any cleaner. You have to wash it anyway. Stop using plastic shopping bags. You can fit a whole lot more in those regular shopping bags, and you can carry them all in on your shoulders and everything. I can carry like $200 worth of groceries in at one time. Reduce, reuse. Reuse. 20.4% of our trash is goods like furniture or appliances, which can often be refurbished and repaired. But throw it away and get a new one is the good old American way. If we took, it is. If we did things like they do in other countries, Germany only has no active landfills now and reuses almost 87% of all of their trash. Maybe you can't reuse everything, but you can take a few notes from Kristen Scari, author of A Year of Nothing New, Tools for Living Lean and Green, who suggests start with your own coffee cup or water bottle. According to the EPA, and I quote, "Companies promoting bottled water as being safer than tap water are defrauding the American public." And the Container Recycling Institute estimates that 877 bottles are wasted every single second. Imagine what not buying that case of water can do. Besides save you money, it also saves the oil and energy to produce, bottle, and transport it. The Pacific Institute in California says it takes about 2,000 times to produce the energy to produce bottled water than it does to produce tap water. And reuse. If you can use something even even just one more time, do it. If you had a Ziploc that just had bread in it, rinse it out and reuse it again. A little bit goes a long way. And last, recycle. Paper, cardboard, plastic, metal, and glass make up almost 53% of America's solid waste and can easily be recycled in most communities. The truth is, most people want to do something, but there are a lot of reasons that make it hard or just plain impossible. Sometimes people say time. Well, nowadays you don't even have to sort your recycling, so that saves you a lot of time. Space, again, sorting, it all goes in one. It takes the same amount in a trash can as it does in the recycling bin. And some people think it's not going to get recycled anyway. In fact, also using Lindsay Moore in my speech, I talked with her a couple weeks ago, and her husband works at the recycling center and says that a lot of it does end up in the dump. However, any items that do make it into the actual recycling, any is more than zero. Not to mention that recycling centers provide jobs to local communities. I forgot to say, it's hard to have time to remember. It provides all kinds of jobs. Now we even have a job as sorter because all of our recycling goes into single stream and somebody has to sort it. But that actually saves recycling because when we think we can recycle greasy pizza boxes, they pick it out so that they don't ruin the whole batch. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2009, there were 906 material recovery facilities owned by private companies and the government. These facilities and their users create many jobs in the recycling industry. In addition to creating jobs, according to the EPA, reducing trash production and recycling reduces landfill waste, conserves natural resources, saves energy. All of this we know. But we also have to consider that it increases our domestic economic security by using domestic materials, and that it supports domestic manufacturing jobs, and that it reduces the volume of trash in landfills, obviously, as my teenage daughter would say. And she did when I read her this. It also saves money in many items. Since many raw materials are being recycled and therefore reused, many processes are being refined and it's only getting more cost efficient. There are many ways we can do our part each and every day. Like I said, I'm not asking you to shed all earthly materials and start hugging trees. I'm not here to convince you to overturn your entire family's existence and start a zero landfill house and possibly a mutiny. I'm simply asking you to be conscious of your part in it, how much trash you use, what you could reuse, and maybe what you could do without. If you don't do anything at all now, maybe you collect your batteries and drop them off. If you're an avid recycler already, maybe you stop using plastic straws or decide not to use produce bags at the store. Or maybe when you leave here, we take our cups and our cans and bottles downstairs to the recycling instead of throwing them away in that bin because that's all we have. A little bit goes a long way. Just take one step every day. We each have to do our part because the alternative is just plain garbage.